G'day, Leon here from Sparesbox. So this weekend, I've got a massive project ahead. I've got my MR2, I've got a classic car rally coming up in 3 weeks, I've just been told yesterday. So as a result, I have been kind of hoarding. I've hit the Sparesbox catalog hard, pretty hard. And I've got a heap of stuff here which I'm going to take you through. And this is, I think, what makes this car an affordable classic. If you put off getting into classic cars, or you think you can't afford it, or it's too hard, if you choose the right car, you can really do a huge amount of stuff yourself. It's so much range, variety. It's 30 years old. It's probably at the sweet spot of availability. It's basically a Camry, Corolla and Camry brakes, Corolla engine. Look at all this stuff, right? I've got everything. So I'm going to do the clutch, because the clutch has got, I don't know, probably maybe a second clutch, but it's got 270,000 Ks on it. Oops, it's the mandrel tool. Look, I've got a Mantic clutch here. This off the shelf, great bit of kit, and everything here is super affordable. It's not crazy prices. I've got some Calpro, I've even got drive shaft boots, I've got inner, outer to do all four if I need to. I've got do the basics plugs, oops. I've got my fuel pump here, I've got my water pump here, obviously it runs a 4A GE motor, got my Gates hoses, got all the hoses. I had to dig around a little bit for those, but that's got, that's a key reliability point, right? Change the hoses, just gives you hassle-free motoring, all of those types of things. Got my wheel bearings, Castrol, going to change those over as well. Got some EBC pads, amazingly red stuff for front and rear, which is a bit of a win. I've got a whole host of camshaft seals, engine main, blah, 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 all of those things if they're leaking, so any oil leaks, but I mean, amazingly, it's a Toyota, 30 years old, doesn't leak really anything. We've even got the fuel injector service kits as well. They're good bits of kits. I've got slave, master cylinders, all of those things for brakes, clutch. Got thermostat, I've got timing kit, have a look at this, Gates, that make a huge range of OE quality timing kits. This is really what if you are going to go to the effort of changing a timing kit, don't skimp, don't buy something substandard, get the OE quality. Look, comes with the belt, comes with the roller, tensioner, also comes with 2 camshaft seals. I mean, that's a bit of a bonus, I didn't even expect that in the kit. What else have we got? We've got suspension stuff, we've got ball joints, tie rod ends, other bits and bobs down here. What have we got? Got RDA rotors, you can see here as well. These are the rears, solid, dimpled, slotted. These are the fronts, vented, slotted. I've got other bits and pieces. I've got steering rack boots here. I've got my Ryco filtration here. That's the fuel filter. We've got the oil filter. Got the serpentine belt. As mentioned, we've got the clutch and a whole heap of other stuff here. So anyway, I'm going to get to it, see if I can drop this engine out, and see you guys in the morning.
Morning, mate. You a bit busy?
G'day, g'day. Have indeed. Engine is out, as you can see. Result, more or less. Pretty good. That's why I get a Toyota, I guess. All the bolts came out, nothing seized, no broken bolts. Still got all the zinc plating under there, even though it's had 300,000 Ks nearly. Just giving the motor a tidy up. It's leaking a bit of oil at the back there, a lot of oil. That's pretty messy, but generally looking pretty good. We're just going to give it now, just pull the timing gear off. We're going to hit it with the Gates timing belt kit, which is the old belt hadn't done that many Ks, but had been there for sitting on there for over 10 years, so it's well and truly done. New water pump. The other bearing wasn't too bad, but it wasn't too good either. You can see here, the old one's definitely been changed, but the bearing's a bit cooked. So we're going to give it that. What else? We've got the thermostat there. For the thermostat, to go in the thermostat housing. I'm going to pull the sump off, change the gasket, just clean it up, and get this side of the motor looking good before I tackle the clutch. And this is exactly why I've pulled the motor out, just to give everything the eyeball once over. This is completely stuffed. Let's spin that. You can probably hear that, and you can even just see it. It's not runs true. I've got a new OEX version here, and this guy is, apart from being 70 amps versus 40, I think. Just the bearing's great. It will fit up nicely with extra charging, and just give me some peace of mind that I can, work the car over and not come back on the trailer.
We're doing the timing belt amongst a couple of other things on Leon's MR2. We're about to put the timing belt on now after changing all the seals, the water pump, etc. And I'm about to use a little trick that my old boss taught me. I thought I'd show everybody else. It's a fairly useful one. Good practice when you change the timing belt in the car is to always count the number of teeth. While you can assume that you bought the right part or the part in the box is what's on the outside of the box. It's not always the case, and if you have a belt that has an extra tooth or two, quite often not, you can put it on and still tension it up and then find out later that it has 2 extra teeth the hard way. So you should always count the teeth. That can be time consuming and a bit of a pain in the ass. So what I like to do is take your old belt, flip it inside out. Take your new belt, flip it inside out. I know people get upset when you flip belts inside out. Relax, it doesn't hurt it. Put them together. Get your paint marker or your whiteout or whatever you want. Put a line. Run them through your fingers together like that. And if it lines back up like that, it's got the same number of teeth. There you go. You saved yourself 5 minutes of tedious counting. There you go. Simple and easy trick.
Alright, so today we're going to install the clutch. As you can see down here, we've got the Mantic Stage 1 Street clutch, which looks awesome and red, even though it'll never be seen, but why not? A good little tip from James, our resident guru mechanic, has given me before we put this flywheel on, is to check all of the depths of the threads and make sure there's no old Loctite or other gunk and muck in the threads, just so that when we torque it up, we know that the bolt is up against not up against some gunk in there and not sitting a bit not flush with the flywheel, and therefore not holding the flywheel in place. So I'm just going to install one of these bolts, and then I'm going to measure the distance with my vernier just to the lip, or the same static point here. All right. So now I'm going to do that same. I can tighten that, lock that in. So it doesn't really matter what that is as long as it's consistent. Because I mean, even if this one has got a bit of gunk, it'll go down further on the other one. So we know that this one's no good. So we're just going to repeat that process, go around to the next hole. Now James said you can definitely do this for, and should do this for, other like really sort of critical bolts, head studs, all of those types of things, just to make sure that you are indeed tightening up when you think you're tightening up. And we can see here sitting flush again at exactly the same depth, so that we know that that hole is also good to go. There's no Loctite stuck in there. And then when we torque up the flywheel, we're doing it correctly, and it's going to hold it in place at the right pressure. Good little tip. My favorite, machined steel, appeals to my OCD. Look at that, beautifully machined flywheel, good to go. The guys at Mantic sorted us out with this cute little clutch. How good is it? It's even got, if you have a look here, let's look at the thing. It's even got the grooves. I think it's a slight overkill, but it's got the venting in there on the pressure plate, which is nice. And obviously organic compound, so it's nice and drivable. But this is a good bit of kit, and will definitely improve my gear shifting, which in the old one was pretty flogged. So yesterday we installed the new timing belt, the Gates timing belt, tensioner belt, cam seals, went a treat, looks good, looks $1 million. But today, got a little present from Gates. It's a racing belt, completely over the top, completely unneeded for a stock engine build, but it is 3 times stronger than normal. It's blue. I mean, that looks race car. It's more durable. I mean, really, if I was putting a higher comp motor, bigger cams, all of the things, which is exactly why you want to install one of these, and I would do if I was doing that as a matter of course if I get my hands on one. And being a 4AGE, heaps of stuff available for them. But we're going to put it on anyway, because why wouldn't we? I mean, we've got a beautiful Mantic red, cherry red clutch plate, also not going to be seen. Might as well have a nice blue one, stronger. Definitely give me peace of mind. This baby ain't going to let go. So I'll get James to see if he can throw me a favour and redo the work that we've already done. All right, another new bit of kit. So that's the old idler wheel. You can see old school circlip style, original, 1987 Toyota spec. So Gates have provided me with one of these. So this is the new idler wheel. This is just for the belts, but you can see here integrated bearing, no circlip, sort of one piece, but it's aluminium. It's machined aluminium, which is pretty cool. It's a nice bit of kit. So we're getting down to the last final stretch of the MR2, thankfully. Build. A lot of midnight oil has been consumed putting this thing back together, but it's been pretty good. It's working on a Toyota makes life very easy. So a couple of things. I've gone back to the original layout here. You can see of the piping for the induction, and that means actually got a filter here in the rear quarter. So that's what I pulled out of that disgusting thing, out of the old canister, and I've got this replacement K&N reusable high flow filter, which is great. It just bolts into the original housing, so that'll be good, high flow filter. What else have I got? NGK have hit me up with some leads, which is fantastic. These are great because they fit the OEM spec. They look nice and neat on the cam covers, go down, protect the plug right into the well, so that's good. Always high quality leads are a must, just one less thing to go wrong. Relatively cheap insurance. NGK Platinum racing plugs as well to accompany that, so they'll be going in the head, and then basically getting to the final things. You can see here as well a couple of things that I've done. I've painted fastidiously and colour matched the original colour, probably over the top, but it's a nice little touch of the original motor, and that's good. Too bad my ugly throttle bracket covers it, which I didn't realise, but live. What else have I done? Gates, thermostat down here in the thermostat housing, new rubber, new gates rubber everywhere. Again, good insurance. Basically, all the consumable parts of the motor have been changed as much as they can. So that means it should be a really reliable car, given it's basically a Corolla. Even though it's 30 years old, I'm confident it's going to make the distance on the rally. So there's a couple of things on this car that I've been dying to change since I bought it. And probably the most important one is the steering wheel, just because you can see here the old one. It's pretty nasty. 30-year-old leather, it's not the best. Yeah, it's one of your tactile things. So here you can see I've put awesome Momo fat suede steering wheel that matches, not too much dish, so it's given me plenty of room, which is awesome. It's way more comfortable in here because I've got long legs and a small car. And I've also just sort of in the process here, but putting this matching Momo gear knob, which I have to say it looks premium. It's the photos didn't do it justice actually. I was very impressed with that. All the gang here were impressed with that. It just pops, makes the cabin pop, adds a bit more throw. Someone's put a short shifter in here, which I don't really love, but generally it's going to be a much nicer cabin. I've got a few little touch-ups to do in here. I did steam clean it. You may have seen in a previous episode as well. So all the things are coming together. Now down to the finishing touches, get the engine running, got to put some coolant in it. That's about it. It's almost ready to roll. Rally is on Friday and it's like Tuesday night now. So we haven't started the car yet, and we've pretty much changed everything we can possibly change, and hopefully it runs. We'll see. So the final things we're doing, I'm going to put some Castrol Engine Oil. I have been running the GTX Ultra Clean in there for since I got the car, let's say a couple thousand Ks. That's been running well. I think that's a mineral-based oil. I think I would run the 1040, which is the original spec, which is a semi-synthetic Magnatech. I mean, in this kind of 270,000 kilometre engine, it's probably not make a big difference, but I will step up to the semi-synthetic because we've got it here. Gearbox runs a fully synthetic Castrol recommended 75 W85 oil, so that's going to be good. I mean, the engine oil, the gearbox oil, who knows how long that's been there? At least 10 years more, because I've been sitting around in a shed, so it's going to be happy to get some of that in there. I've also, one upgrade part that I did manage to get my hands on was a white line anti-roll bar and adjustable links. So these are the links. They just go to the desired length. I can't remember the range on these ones, but let's say 8 to sort of 13, 14 centimetres. So they just roll out and you lock them into place, so that's great. This is the original anti-roll bar, which is pretty puny. Now typically on cars, the stiffer the rear bar, the better the sharper the nose and less understeer, and that's what we're hopefully getting. You know, people do talk about these cars being very squirmy because and like to spin because they're rear engine, but compared to my Peugeot 205 GTI, it's actually pretty tame, and Toyotas generally like to have understeer as default. So you can see the thickness of the bar here. So this is a white line bar. So I've just dummy fitted this one in here just to get it. I've also fitted some BC Racing shock absorbers, which look to business. This is the biggest bit of overkill on the entire car. Some hard race arms. For whatever reason, my rear arm, they look puny and they were bent. One of them was bent, so I put this in, but that's a serious bit of overkill. I've also got my RDA rotors happening. EBC red pans. I've painted the calipers, looks good. Changed the drive shafts, scour the world for those. Quite hard to find. And we're just doing the final bits and pieces now. So I've even had, clutch hose made up for it, just down at my local NZ, which is quite good. Obviously, a car like this, not everything is in stock. It's sort of at that point now where some things are available, some things aren't. So it's a bit of I sort of obviously scoured our website, but there's a few things that I needed to get and improvise like that, but they made it up on the spot. It's a perfect fit, and that was great. So thanks to the guys for that. But otherwise, we're almost ready to start it. I've done a few things to the interior as well, and we've made a few changes to the body, which will be hopefully see shortly. All right, this is the exciting part when it all comes together, kinda. All the hard work, finishing touches on. It's like backyard blitz when they're bringing the plants in. So I've done all the stuff. So now, as a condition of the rally, not only do you need to have a pre-85 car, it's got to be stick it up kind of in period. So I've kind of misappropriated a very popular 1980s sponsorship. You can probably guess, but I'm not going to say for reasons. We've got the awesome fluoro red, orange. We've got all the little stickers. We're going to put some windscreen banners. We've got all the sponsor logos down here that have helped us out. Put in CRD. It's all, it's going to look pretty good against the white and the blue. So I'm pretty excited about that. So hopefully it'll come together and it's going to look $1 million.